I need, no, I'm having a scrap pile. No. Oh, I need, All the wood species may be in my shop, but this project, it needs only you. Only you have the sweet wavy grain and the perfect life there. Today's video, we're going to build a waterfall coffee table. Now, if you go on Etsy or even online, you will see that waterfall coffee tables, they fetch a pretty penny and they're not hard to make at all. And I don't know about you, but I am tired of seeing farmhouse tables, stuff like that. They're easy to make, they make decent money, but this is less wood, less work, and it fetches a lot more money from what I can see on Etsy. So I'm going to make one and I'm going to see if it'll sell. So I've been wondering what to do with this slab for quite a while now because I like this. I don't want to cut it out. I want to find a way to use it. I think this will be the best way to use it. So to start things off, I'm going to get a straight edge on this side. This is the feet. This is where I'm going to have the bottom piece that connects to the floor, comes up and goes over. I want to salvage as much of this gap as possible because I think it's really cool. So we're going to put a straight edge right here. And then we're going to measure from that to cut our leg. And I will preface by saying I am going to use a track saw, but you can use a straight edge with a regular circular saw. And that would work just fine. I'm just using a track saw because I have one. While we're on that topic about tools, talking about the track saw, I made a post recently asking you guys if you've seen it. I made a post recently asking you if you think I should sell all my tools. And my reason for doing that, is so the reason that I have that idea is because I want to prove a point that you don't need, obviously you don't need these fancy tools, but not just that you don't need them, you can still afford them. And my thought is to start from scratch and work my way back up, which is what I've done in the first place, but it's not recorded. My wife obviously does not like the idea. But one other point would be to show that your knowledge, your experience that you have is the greatest tool that you can't lose. So me starting over now versus me starting over 10 years ago, it's going to be drastically different results. I'm going to excel faster and make more money because of what I know and what I can do. So don't cripple yourself thinking that you have to have all these fancy tools. Don't get jealous of other people that have them. Because not only do they have the tools, they also have the experience. But most likely everybody started out with minimal tools. So anyway, it's just brainstorming. I'm still brainstorming. I haven't decided what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it. But I think it's a good idea rather than just saying, hey, here's 10 tools that you need to get started. Well, here's 10 tools that you need to get started, and I'm going to start completely over and do it. And like I said, it's still just a concept. I don't know. Might not even do it. So I like where this is at. We've got a decent amount of the crotch that we're going to salvage. We have a nice straight edge on this side. It's not completely square, but it's square enough. This cut is going to give us both our feet and our reference point for the rest of the table. So once we make this straight line, once we cut it, we're going to use this side to reference the rest of the measurements, which is only one other measurement. So I like where it's at. Let's cut it. Here, go put on your hearing protection. Earplug. Go get your earplugs. Thank you. So now that we've made our first cut, here's what I don't like to see. Cracks never get better. and I don't feel like doing bow ties, so I want to come up a little higher with it. I think I see where it stops from the outside, about another 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches up. So we're going to make another cut. We'll still have plenty of this crotch left over, and hopefully we will have chased the crack completely out without having to do any further rework on it. Much better. I don't see any cracks. I think we are good to go from here forward. So for a good coffee table height, a good height to go with is anywhere between 18 to 20 inches. I'm going to go with 19 inches on this one, just because that's what I want to go with. We'll make my mark. Make my mark. Make another mark. 18 inches, and I'm going to use the marks that I made to draw a straight line across, and that's going to give me my first cut. So for the next cut you want to make, this is going to be critical. You want to take out as little off of this as possible. So you're going to set up this cut to where your blade comes right on top of this peak, so that when you put it together, it's a continuous grain. Now you can do this on your table saw, and it's a big slab. I got a small shop, so I'm going to set my track saw to come right on the peak. And that way when you put together these pieces, it looks like a continuous grain, ergo the waterfall table. So we have a problem here. The wood, can you see that? It bowed up. Now, there's 2 steps you got to do to fix that. It wouldn't be a big deal if it didn't bow up in front of all my other scrap wood, but now that it did that in front of the other wood, we got a problem. So the first step, you can't let that go unanswered. Can't let wood just bow up on you like that. You let it happen one time, and I'm telling you from experience, let it happen one time, and they all do it. So first step, since it bowed up in front of the other wood, and both of them did it. Both of them did it. So I thought I could get away with it. I knew there was a bow, but I wasn't quite sure what it would do at that angle. And it's not lining up. So I'm going to have to take, I tried getting away with it and I couldn't. So we need to lower these peaks and lower this peak here. There's a dip, and a peak. All along the side, especially around the joint. That's my main area of concern. I'm going to do the whole thing, but especially where these miters meet up, it's thrown off the miter. That didn't work. So I have a cool idea. I'm going to use my router sled. I'm going to do an impromptu wall for the router sled on my table saw. Let me put that together real quick. It's going to be simple. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the sander did not quite work out the way that it typically does. Just not to my satisfaction. So I have a really cool idea. I made another fence the same height as my table saw fence. What I'm going to do is make a router sled on top of my table saw. Where's my router sled? Oh, it's outside. 1 second. So, makeshift router setup. That ought to do it. I'm going to clamp this fence down. And there you have it. Look, that is genius right there. So if you do this, one thing to be careful of, you don't want to tear up your table saw fence when you're coming through here with the router. It's a little squirrely, a little sketchy, but it will work. This is one of those projects where absolutely nothing is working. Nothing's going according to plan. This is my last step before this goes into the fire. My router bit, as you can see, it's so smoky in here. My router bit is just done. Replace it. Probably need to replace the router too, but I'm going to keep working on this the good old-fashioned way, and that should be good enough. If it's not, I'm calling it a night, and I'll come back to it tomorrow. It's supposed to be an easy project. Here we are. Okay, so I have that miter joint fixed enough. I am freaking done messing with it. Now I'm going to rough sand this surface. We're going to take out this bow that's on the top, and then we are going to glue it up. CA glue. The accelerator, and this will make the glue dry upon contact. Hold it down for about 2 seconds, and there she blows. What the heck, man? Come on. Look, I'm about done. I'm just about done. You gotta know when to call it sometimes. I'm about to call it, because this is getting on my nerves. Oh, okay, so the plan was I was going to work on the legs, but I know myself, and when I get as frustrated as I am right now, I mess things up. So I'm going to go call it a night. It's only like 7:30. I'm typically in the shop till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to call it. I'm going inside. I'm going to chill out and relax before I mess something up, make a fool of myself. I know that trick works with this. Where I messed up at is I didn't cut a 45-degree angle to oppose that direction. And I still have that bow. In the wood, I didn't take the time to mill the wood properly. The main reason, because I wanted this to be a quick project, but it turned into a fiasco. So learn from my mistake, mill your wood, which I typically do. But like I said, I just wanted to make a quick project of this. And it's still going by pretty quick. But man, it's just like every turn, I'm running into something just diabolical. I'm going to take it as a sign that I need to call it and I need to go inside. I will see you tomorrow or the next day. Okay, so it is tomorrow and my disposition is much better today. So I'm going to take this out of clamps and we're going to keep going. All we're going to have left to do is some sanding and to build the legs. And I'm going to show you how to build the legs. It's a really cool, really simple design. And it makes you look like just a better woodworker. It makes me look like a better woodworker than I actually am. Let's get this out of clamps. So shop time to me lately has been where I listen to Audible while I'm working and recording myself. I do enjoy listening to Audible. This isn't sponsored, by the way. Nobody's sponsoring this. But I feel like it's kind of led to some laziness in my video. Just when I record myself and do the voiceover, that's okay. I don't really like that style of video, and I got to thinking more and more, trying to figure out my channel. If you prefer this style of video, where we're kind of talking and working at the same time, you're seeing my screw ups, and I think I just screwed up. But we're also working through it together. I kind of like this style. If you like the style, comment below. Okay, bear with me here. Class is in session. This is our tabletop. This is how I want my legs to be. A couple of things you want to pay attention to if you're going to do this style. You want your end grain to not be exposed. So this is a top runner, bottom runner. These are two actual legs. The end grain will be facing the tabletop and will be facing the floor. So you won't see any end grain in the piece. Or in the legs at least. You'll see the end grain of the tabletop. I want my legs to be at least 2 inches off of the outside edge of the width of the tabletop. It's a little bit confusing, but it'll make sense. It's confusing to me. So these angles right here are 5-degree angles. That's all of these angles. They will all match up. We're going to call this piece number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is the order that you will actually cut the pieces and put them together, because they kind of impact each other. So this piece, number 1, we're going to pull the total width of our tabletop. We're going to subtract 4 inches to get our inset, and we're going to subtract another 4 inches because the thickness of my legs are 2 inches thick. So we're going to subtract a total of 8 inches from the total width of the tabletop. That'll give me this measurement for number 1. For 2 and 3, I'm going to show you how we're going to pull that measurement. We're going to pull it against the legs themselves that's already on the tabletop, that slab. That's how we're going to get that measurement. And once we get this put together, 1, 2, and 3, we're just going to take another board, set it inside, trace some lines where that cut is, make that cut, and that'll be it. Super simple. I might be overcomplicating it. This is the only way I could think of to explain it. So that being said, the total width of our tabletop is 21.5 inches. We want to take 8 inches off of that to get the measurement, or the final dimension for our number 1 component. That will be 13.5 inches. Now I'm going to make my first cut at 5 degrees, like so. Is that a random point? Flip it. That way to get cut. So once you make that cut, take the piece and just flip it. And that will give you the opposing angle that you need. We want 13.5 inches. Having a ton of technical difficulties. Apparently most of the footage I recorded, the audio was totally jacked up and was not usable. So to get the measurements for the legs, I took, imagine that this is the slab of the tabletop with the crotch in it. to get the height of the legs that we're making, I cut one in at 5 degrees, set that against the top, drew a line where that line was to match the slab, and that's how I got my measurement for the legs that we're building right now. Moving on. So we have our first dominoes cut. We'll do a quick dry fit, make sure everything's lined up. And then we're going to trace out our next measurement for the bottom. This is the best way I've done it. I like to use the workpiece as reference as much as possible. That's a little loose. That's weird. Anyway. Shim. Put it underneath shim. Take this. That's the edge I want showing. I'm going to put it right here. Move it up until it's flat. Try to save as much wood as possible. Make sure this is good, nice and tight. Bottom down. And then trace. We're going to cut that out, we're going to put it together, and then glue it up. So I'm setting these legs back 4 inches from the front. And I think that is going to look good. I did pre-finish this, but I am going to record the finish for the top. I just like to pre-finish the bottom and the legs before I attach it. I'm eyeballing it to make sure it's even. We'll move it over just a hair, and we're ready to attach it. For those that are about to cringe, look away. So for the legs, I did drill a recess so that the screw heads fit down beneath the surface. This is fine. I would not do this for a client. This isn't going to a client. This is actually probably staying in my house. If I was to give this to a client or make it for a client, I'll get the threaded inserts that go into the top itself so that it can be screwed down and easily removed. This makes for a strong joint. It's just a coffee table. It's not really load bearing. So this is perfect for that. So we're using Osmocote poly oil. And I just bought this stuff and I am liking it a lot. It's a little bit of a premium finish, but it just does such a tremendous job. It's so easy to use. And it's got a beautiful natural finish. So, I hope you liked the video. I hope it helps. This is really a fun thing to do, especially if you have milled wood. If you like the video, like and subscribe. I appreciate the support, and I will catch you on the next one.